What's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. Gonna be talking about Batman. If you didn't see my post, a buddy of mine did a mock-up a couple years ago through like this really long story about like a onesie I bought at Walmart that was a Batman costume. Anyway, so he photoshopped my face into that image that I posted on the Instagram story. So I just thought that would be funny today, considering the watch I'm going to be talking about, which is the Batman. So this is the BLNR on Oyster. So this came out several years ago. I want to say 2013. I might be wrong. What's up, guys? Welcome. Yeah, talking Batman today. And Oyster bracelet was always my favorite, honestly. I think the vintage GMTs I really enjoy on the Jubilee. I think currently the new Pepsi looks great. But I think as far as the Batman is concerned, the blue-black bezel, which is obviously nicknamed the Batman, always liked it on Oyster. No necessarily, not necessarily like for any reason other than just aesthetics. Jubilee is a very comfortable bracelet. I've got a watch on Jubilee that I'll get to in a later post, but yeah, Amanda, you prefer it on Oyster as well? Yeah, it's good. It's a great bracelet. I love the weight. I think Amanda, actually, you and I have talked about this before with regards to the weight of watches. I love a heavy watch, and I feel like, I would never put this on a Nato or anything like that. But I think, yeah, the Oyster is just the way to go. I love this watch. Love the black dial. Frankly, I've got most of my watches are black dial watches. The blue-black to me was just the right amount of color, I feel like. I've never really been vibrant in color as a person, even though I've got rocking the Durham Bulls hat, by the way, as a North Carolina native. This is a stretch for color for me. Blue shirt because of the blue bezel, obviously. So anyway, back to this watch. So when this came out, I was like over the moon about it. I absolutely loved this piece. I think even to this day, it's my favorite GMT of all time. And yeah, when it came out, I couldn't really afford it. Then let's fast forward. I'll save you a lot of the details, but fast forward to, I guess it was November of 2018 when the predictions were that they were going to cancel this and then come out with the Pepsi on Jubilee. Or at least that would have been the year that the Pepsi on Jubilee came out, was 18. And this guy, I think, was announced that they were going to cancel it. So I called my AD. Well, my AD already knew that I was like a Batman lover. So with regards to this purchase, it's kind of an interesting story. My AD called me, said, I've got one in. It's yours, basically. Like, you have the first right of refusal. I have this list of people to call. So if you want it, it's yours. And I said, oh my goodness, like, how much time can you give me? Like, I need to figure out a way to pay for this thing. And so basically I called my dad and basically said, Dad, let's go in on this watch together. And so basically what my dad said is like, yeah, cool. And I was like, you know what? I would love to share it as a result. And so what I do actually is I keep the GMT hand on East Coast time, and I keep the home time, or the GMT hand is on East Coast time, and the current time is on Pacific because I live in San Diego. So the idea is that when I go home to North Carolina, I trade watches with my dad, and my dad wears this, and then he'll put the GMT hand on Pacific. So that's kind of how we share the watch, and which is something special, as a 2 time zone piece. Well, I guess you could technically include a 3rd time zone with the bezel, but we don't. that's kind of how we share the watch. And it was something that I came up with, and I thought it would be really special. And, just like a way to share it with my dad. He's always like worn watches, but he had like, and I think it was an ESQ or something like that when I was a kid. It was like a two-tone ESQ watch, which, is not a Rolex. It's not, I mean, I would almost equate it with like a Swiss Army or something. But so my dad was really never into haute horology. Like I got this hobby kind of came up in my life on my own, really through blogging. I find out, like, just as Hodinkee was released when I was doing my men's fashion and lifestyle blog called Screaming Mouth. That's a whole other story. Terrible blog, but I love doing it. And so that's kind of how I got into watches, because Hodinkee released right around the same era, maybe even the same year. And yeah, fell in love with watches. Then my dad kind of came into the scene several years ago, and he was asking me about my watches and showing some interest. And so when this guy came out, or excuse me, when this guy came in to, question whether or not to get it, yeah, we went on, that's how this puppy happened. Because without his help, I wouldn't have this in my hand right now. So very lucky. And yeah, I love this watch. Like I said, I mean, it's my favorite. I love it on the Oyster bracelet. This doesn't have the newer movement, so it's not like a 70-hour power reserve. I think it's like 47 hours or something like that. But plenty of power reserve for me, of course. Yeah, it's just a beautiful watch. I have a friend, John, he's worn his surfing. This is not my surf watch. It never would be my surf watch. Frankly, yeah, but it's just super clean. And I mean, I think we can all agree that if you're going to have a one watch collection, a GMT is a pretty good argument for a one watch collection, especially if you travel. I love it. It's such a great piece. It's a beautiful piece. Obviously has a lot of hype and clout around it, which is probably my least favorite attribute of the watch, but I'm just not really a hype kind of person, I guess. Like the things with hype always just, I don't know. That's a whole other conversation, obviously. But yeah, so that's the story of the Batman. And that's, it's been fun to wear. It definitely gets some attention, which again, like I don't wear it for that, the hype and the questioning, but I think about my dad every time I wear it. So that's what I do think about, and that's why I do wear it and enjoy it. And I think it's a really special piece for sure. If you guys have any questions or want to bring up anything, do you like the new one on Jubilee better? It's such a subjective type of question. I think, Oyster versus Jubilee. But yeah, I love this piece. Regina, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, the Batman. This one's 2018, I believe. So this one isn't the OG. This is one of the end of the year, the kind of end of this generation, I guess, the Gen 1 Batmans. So that's really all I got for you guys. It is offered on Oyster now again. I guess Rolex, as of Watches and Wonders, announced that you can get these guys and you can choose whether or not it's on Oyster or Jubilee. So that's kind of cool. I think it's really nice. I guess part of me was sort of upset about it only from the perspective of it doesn't make this one as special. As you've seen these things just climb in price on the secondary market, you kind of wonder, like, will this new offering of having both accessible, it'll be interesting to see what it does to the value of these guys. I mean, obviously this is like a Gen 1 type of release, but now that you can buy it on Oyster, is it going to do better or worse because the new one has a longer power reserve, so you could argue that the new technology is better. So there's that. But yeah, regardless, to your point, Amanda, this will certainly continue to be special for sure. This is not a flip type of situation, because God knows if I chose to do that a year ago would have been a good idea. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Yeah, 2 weeks from now, another Wesley's watches. No idea what I'll present, but Batman today. BLNR, Oyster bracelet. Love it. See you guys. Have a good day.